Good morning to August the 1st. It's Thursday in the Bund. The activity levels are confirmed with the pre-market. That means everything from the hypos is without changes. And that means we still take around this 91 right now, the 89 area, the 83 area, and the 77 area as long levels. If we see now the open drive with volume into the high of the yesterday value area high, and we see holding and increasing again, then we go here for the long. If this long fails, we go in for the open rejection reverse. That's everything we need to watch. Again, means following levels are interesting. We want to see powerful going here. If it fails, we going back for the open rejection reverse. And long levels are here, here, and also around the 77. That means I only watch price action and order flow in these areas. All right. Just a thought I had today or the last days, to find orientation within the developing market. I think to evaluate the at the moment bias of the market participants, you need to know two things. There are three things. Number one, you see the big picture. You see the big picture preparation. Okay? This is our main context. This is what happens the last day. We look at the long term, the super long term. We just look where we are in the profile. We look what happened yesterday. We will see if it's more bullish, is it more bearish, is it neutral. Okay? And then we watch the overnight session and the pre-market, and we see how the market reacts in this pre-market overnight to the yesterday profile. Do we stay within a certain level, a certain distribution? Are we more on the bullish side in the upper 50? Are we more on the bearish side in the lower 50 of the last day? And then the pre-market and the open phase of cash. Do we open within yesterday value? Do we open if it's a trend day with more, with multiple distributions on the way up? Do we open up in the upper area, retracing upper 50? And do we stay and build value? So then we have number two, we have certain confirmed levels and values by the pre-market overnight. This is then the next orientation. This is where we look. For bounce back levels, like my hypos. And my hypo says, overall I'm seeing a more bullish behavior in the upper 50. We stay there. I use those volume edges in Bund. I use these volume edges in Bund as the possible entry areas. I also use in Bund POC, minor POC as possible reaction levels. That's why I said today the lower volume edge at 90 around, the minor POC at 83, and of course the breakout level and the week's yesterday 50% around the 77, which is also the week 50, a cluster and a low volume node that separates the range day start from yesterday from the trend day from yesterday. And then we want to see if intraday, and it's number 3, how intraday then plays these levels. That means third is micro, and call it at the moment bias. Micro and at the moment bias determination. That means micro level, then we bring everything together. That means we look how after the cash open the benamed levels are played, and we watch, we call it activity zones. We watch how at the micro level, and that's order flow and price action, delta, tape, It's all the same how they play it and how they behave around this. And also we're trying to determine the at the moment bias. That means, do we see, we're still at point 3, do we see in the micro, in the intraday, and therefore I'm going to the trading window, do we see in the intraday, from the kind of how the chart patterns is developing, do we see signs also before reaching the level of strength or weakness? That's the third thing. We combine these 3 things. That means, again, big picture preparation, second, overnight and pre-market reaction to the levels. So that means 2 applies the knowledge from 1, and level 3 then, number 3, the micro, is then applied on number 2 and number 1. And then we play it on the micro level and have a look and take this as an example. We open here in the pre-market testing this area where I said this is the first important long level. They play this level because this was this lower edge, and I said you can play it. In this I don't play it because I still not having a play for the pre-market. This may change, but right now I don't play the pre-market. So at least, so they play it, and now they didn't make it to the yesterday value area high, where I said if we want to go long, then if you didn't get this long here, you want to see increase of buying volume and holding. Then you have 2 plays, either the long trend play, or if it's got rejected, the open rejection reverse. From here down again to the open range low. And I also now watch as this haven't happened. Now I take a look and see how intraday market is moving. And now take an example. Just imagine this hasn't happened yet. What just now is happening. So I scroll a little bit backward. We only see this here. Now think, we see this behavior. This is also an important part and gives an edge for a possible upcoming long continuation play. This could also, okay, let's talk this first. So you see, now we reach this price at this moment, and now imagine price only went back to the at the moment POC and bounces back and moves with high volume into the yesterday value area high. Would this be a good sign? Now, additionally, for the long play, yes or no? Most definitely. Because it means that a lot of market participants already used the at the moment POC at a springboard level to accumulate pieces. Another example, imagine that this price action does not take place, this move does not take place, but you see we're going up, we're going completely down, we're going up, and now we're about here. Expect that now prices coming up again and you prepare for the long. Because volume increases, this would also be our play. And this doesn't mean anything that it's now a sign of more weakness that the price went back completely. because as the open haven't not tested yet the lower area because we went directly up, this would then just be some kind of open test drive before going to the high. So this has no worth. But this is very good and important. This is already a very bullish sign when they pull back at the POC. So this is what I'm doing then also. That means before going into the micro play, again back here, before I'm going into the play, which is then the last step, number 4, execution. Before going into the execution while spotting my play, I'll read at number 3 at the micro level and at the moment bias. I look at the micro level and at the moment bias. That means how is the market moving. I scroll now to the real time. Now we see this is some kind of weakness. They see here how they tried to play some long again from the POC but failed. Nobody was interested in it. But now they're playing the long. Alright. We are at the activity level and getting prepared if they are rejection signs for the long trade. The range long. Only if we see the rejection. If not, we stay flat, do nothing. If not, we stay So I hope you were also able. No, you don't have to be able. I mean, I hope it would be cool if you was already able to see the. Wait a second, my phone rings. Okay, guys. Have you seen the signs of rejection at the low? At our activity level? You remember this area here from the pre-market with the volume edge from 89 to 90 around? Have you seen the signs? I will go back a few minutes to the moment and show you again. Again, we said, look here at the chart where we are. I said this is the activity level from my big picture preparation. After the open we couldn't make it higher, and now we're going back to the low, which was my hypo number. Oh yeah, number 1 with the range long levels around 91, but now a little bit with the open extended to the 89. So we see, you see this here? Please only watch delta, okay? First, we see a difference from the behavior to the days before. It's very important. Use your Sierra charts for replay and tell me if you agree with me that the market behavior today is a little bit different to the days before. It's a little bit stronger, a little bit more volume. It's not super normal volatility, but it's not the super low weak volatility from the last days. So I wanna tell you what I'm looking at. Remember, we're not talking now about number 1, number 2, because number 1 and number 2 we already made, okay? Our preparation, we see our pre-market, and now we look at the moment bias in the micro level. What tells us at this moment the at the moment bias? I tell you how I measure what I see, okay? It means to get a signal, you have to first start with this micro level. Okay. Look at the delta. This move here, up and down, you will agree that this move at this moment we don't see a strong bearish delta. Okay, right? First, very important thing. This move here is not looking like this move here. Please don't look at the chart when I show you this move here in the delta. I don't want to look here at the chart at the moment. I just want to imagine, take this move in delta and put it, imagine it, this is put onto here. That means from there to there in the chart and the price, delta moved not like this small to the downside, but this heavy to the downside. Okay, like from here down to here. That means first, at the moment bias is, I assume right now we only have short-term traders as market participants. So, good first sign. Don't make it too complicated. That's just the first sign I look. Is delta strong while moving into my activity level where I'm looking for the responsive bias for the range long. Not more. Don't make it over complicated. Then I see as they test the low with some selling, we see then selling starts to get weaker. Do you agree? Just prove yourself, do you see what I'm talking about? Attempt number 1, attempt number 2, and now this is 30 seconds time period. This period, no more selling and already some buying. Next time, some little bit more selling, but not as huge as before, and already some buying. You can see this here with the stick. Then, again, neutral signs. Neutral signs. We wait now for the responsive buying. As no more selling appears, boom. First responsive buying. But for me, not the sign to enter, because I want to see 2 times responsive buying. Because I say that the first may only be the one that pushed lower and closing now their shorts. So I'm waiting now for the second and trying to get in then within a 2 tick to the extreme. Means the low is 87, right? At the moment. I'm working with a 4 tick stop in Bund, okay? Because I measured this in my backtesting. This is, if you get the energy entry, a good way to measure, to work with this risk, right? 87 means I want to enter at 89. Because if I get in only at 90, then I need to have not only 4 ticks, okay, but 5 tick stops. And this is no good risk reward anymore, okay? Because my target number 1 from the option theory is the at the moment POC, okay? And this is 94. Means if I get in at 90, I only have 4-point chance, a reward, and 5 tick stop, okay? This is not okay for me. I want to have a better than 1-to-1 risk reward. So as I'm going in then at 89 with a stop at 85, 4 ticks, when, and now it comes, now if there's coming again signs of responsive buying. Boom. There they come. You see this? A second time. They now invest and accumulate money. So I set my limit buy now at the 89. Price at the moment is at the 90. If I get filled, then I'm in the trade. If I'm not get filled, I'm not gonna buy higher because this is expensive and not good for risk reward. As normally prices often coming back, zack, boom, here I got filled, and now I'm staying in this trade no matter what. Before the impulse phase number 1 started, before it hasn't started, I do not, I will say this clearly, I do not move my stop. I'm into this trade, I made a complete decision process with again big preparation, certain confirmed level and values by the pre-market overnight. So 3, at the moment buyers at the micro level, and 4, my execution. And you know what I do additionally? My trading mindset, my training in psychologies, my trading in my preparation, my routine, my trading mantra, my affirmations. This is not here part because I'm just describing the technically. I'm not want to bore you, but it's so important to have both worlds. So again, back. I don't move stop till impulse phase hasn't started. Now you see another attempt of people buying. And now it's normally you may get nervous, you may get anxious, you may be too overconfident anyway, you may be now victim of your own feelings because you see they pushing, and it's not getting higher. Relax or try to understand that you do not fight these feelings. That's okay, you have these feelings. That's very important. And I show you technically here also only from the technical part. This is no problem that they don't have success with the first or second try here with the buying, because sometimes they looking again to the downside to get more liquidity. As they do, like people now looking maybe for the short, people then they know that the other people and also the retailers get nervous and close. As prices now going lower again, you see, you may see prices go lower, you see that retailers are now getting nervous. That means they will close their long position. That means, of course, you can only close a long by opening a short. That means if you open up a short and there are maybe 50 or 100 retailers at the moment or whatever and closing their shorts, that means that they provide the bewitched liquidity the bigger and professional short-term traders waiting for. That means they do like, long side, it doesn't work, we do now go into the short side again, and you see this in the next candle. I show it you on the footprint. You see attempt 1, 2, 2, 3 here, and now doesn't work, boom, some selling. We are now back at the 88 level, 172 contract set, but you see that there's still the buying is. They're still buying. This wasn't not, you don't have to close only because you see now it's going to the downside again. But you know, a lot of people getting nervous. But they just fishing some liquidity. And again, playing lower, but you see it's just some fishing for liquidity. Still, you see that impulse phase, that means a getting higher from the price here, from the micro level, didn't happen yet. Means I didn't touch my stop yet. And now see, boom, they got what they needed and now they push it with aggressive buying higher and higher. My target is, remember, at the 94 with a one lot, and it's the moment POC. And you see liquidities now after getting filled, is refilled, is pulled now. See this green rectangle here? They pull liquidity, they help, they want to go active and passive into the long, and then I was filled. And at this moment when the impulse phase 1 started here, I pulled my stop from -4 to -2, and in this, at the second phase started here, I pulled my stop to entry level. In this trade, a few seconds later, I got filled anyway and reached my target. But this is my mechanism how to test the this is my mechanism how to play a range long, and then you can measure. If you always go on like this, you have the edge that you can now measure the trades that are lucrative. This was a lucrative trade because, remember, it's lucrative when my psychological mindset, my psychological states is good. This is something I measure then with my journal and with my sensations, emotions and thoughts and my routine and affirmations before trading and during the trading. And the other thing, again, is this, where I can rely on. And that's very important. And if you do it this way, with a clear mindset and with this be named things here, then this is a lucrative trade. It doesn't matter then, and that's so important, it doesn't matter then if this trade has then a minus or is a plus trade in terms of profit. You need to tell your brain new behavioral patterns, and you have to tell your brain not to compare and say a profitable trade is a plus trade and an unprofitable trade is a minus trade. You need you make new relations in your brains and your neurals, and you tell your brain by saying you only take profitable trades and trying to make less lousy trades as possible. So that's what you're doing. You don't compare loser and winner trades, but you tell your brains you only compare lucrative and lousy trades. That will make you easier to stop judging your trading by P&L. Because judging your trading by P&L is most often then the reason why at long term you will fail. You will fail 1000% if you judge your trading by P&L. And it is not easy not to judge your trading by P&L, because this is the nature of humans' brain, of your survival brain. Because it weighted loss double as it weighted a winner. This is neuroscience. This is no trading guru shit. This is neuroscience, behavioral science. Read the book Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast, Slow and Slow. He's got the Nobel Prize for this new behavioral theory, prospect theory, and very good also Richard Friesen, who was trading traders, or Dr. Steenbarger. That's a fact. You will crush by market. You will crush by market if you don't accept that this is your human natural architecture of your brain will play it like this. You don't hear me talking because we are not at the activity zone. Remember again, we want to see prices going above this volume edge here. So this is the edge, and we want to go above this edge, and we want to see increase of volume. And we want to see holding, or we want to see pushing at the yesterday value high. If we can't get in here, we want to see push into the yesterday value high, holding, and then increasing of volume. And when this happens, then we read the intraday bias and say if this is giving us support or not. We can assume that this is happening now. So assume we are right now here with this pattern, okay? What would the intraday bias tell us so far? Do we have, call them, supporting triggers on the intraday bias level? Yes, we have, of course. Look, the range long didn't only reach the POC, but even the higher volume edge of the day and of the pre-market, all right? And then, as they playing the range short, the short could not lose, could not unfold downwards from the at the moment POC, which was actually even shifted to the higher level, creating a bullish imbalance in the volume profile. Okay? I hope you see that this here is a volume profile unfinished. See this here? With a bullish imbalance. As this level, if this zone is not filled out yet, means if the prices can go higher, there's a good chance that we re-enter this higher value from yesterday and make it through. Or we see at least a try and then a rejection, which would means that we then have a possible failure and going back to the range if we fail around here at the top area. And that's wonderful, isn't it? That means we have a sign of strength as prices, as they playing here the range long, couldn't get below the at the moment POC, but ranging around. That means they have collected, they have accumulated pieces. See this in delta. A strong up move, a holding. Every time they try to push lower, you see they accumulate and also buying. But please remember, this is everything worthless as long as this pattern does not appear right now. I tell you that just to train your, because this you have to recognize before we are here, because then it's maybe too late to analyze, okay, what happened here before, was the market, price is away. So you have to think like in probabilities, if this happening next with the prices coming up and holding here above and increase of volume at the yesterday value very high, then in buying or a pullback, in this moment with this scenario, we see this will have a higher probability to be played out on the long side, as we already see that bigger people, OTF anyway, or at least trying to accumulate pieces, and you see more strength in buying in delta, you see more bullish. And compare this, please compare this move here with this before. As I said, this was no strong selling This made the range long give a little bit higher probability to be played out when you see that they don't crash with shortish, super bearish power into the low. But again, just do not play now the long just because you see, I tell you this is so super bullish here, delta is bullish, accumulation doesn't mean anything. We need to see follow-up signs at the activity zone. That's why I always coming back when I see people losing such idiots trades. You need to be focused, then this doesn't mean anything here as long we are not at our activity level. And then this must be again put together. Do we see then a increase of buying volume? Yes. And then we say, okay, trigger 1, and what was before? Okay, support, trigger, support, because strongish delta, bullish delta, holding structure, accumulation. Okay, perfect. Then this is a lucrative trade. And no matter if this is then a loser or a winner, losing is just a product of a statistical edge that this will happen as long as you trade, you will have losing trades. But what you can control is if you have lucrative or lousy trades. And if you have a lousy trade, this is a loser, you failed as trader. And if you have a lousy trades and is a winner, you failed as a trader. But if you have a lucrative trade and it is a loser, then you're successful. And if you have a lucrative trade and it's a winner, then you're of course successful too. But you need to compare not winning or losing. You have to compare lousy or lucrative trade. All right. So what? Now, what's happening now? Tell me, what's happening now? I can tell you. It just didn't work out. Some guys here collected longs. They accumulated. They say this is fair price. And now, maybe this guy has finished. Maybe it was just an order. He had to do. Yeah? Because it was maybe some fund manager. And he commissioned his trader to buy here in the Bund maybe 1,000 contracts without making it too much and too obvious. Okay? This is also possible. So that's why I said this means absolutely nothing if there's not then this following up drive is following. Nobody cares. Nobody knows what's happening next. You can make just a theory and say if it's happening next, then it would be a sign of strength. And if it's not happening, then please, again, this is no activity zone. We will watch again now how it is played out. And as long they don't reach this level here, which is my activity zone, or they don't reach this level again, which is my activity zone, there's nothing to do. All right, nothing to do. Let's have a look at the numbers. What we had some numbers from Italy, which were a little bit better, from France, from Germany, which was weaker, and also from the EWU, or the European Union, and as you see, that had no impact onto the markets. Then there are some numbers, mediocre impact may have. This is the 10:30 numbers of Great Britain. No, I think that's also should be the same thing. Then 1 o'clock. No, that's only one important numbers at 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, the US numbers, because the ISM manufacturing PMI US, which was 51.7 and is forecasted for 52. This will have some impact, but it's that's at the afternoon, so no more interesting in the morning. At least no more interesting planned economic numbers. There can be, of course, some political or some other event. Yeah. If you guys have some questions, till now we didn't have some questions. Unfortunately, because I thought that somebody is interested in some the way I see the market. Maybe somebody in the stream who has some other side or has some other point of view, which would be also very interesting, or there's some even more advanced trader than I am and have some interesting advices or recommendations or whatever. I'm always trying to be open-minded, and that would be nice to share some information anyway. If you have some infos, critics, or questions, just write to our Discord stream, to the public stream, or a direct message to me. Would be cool, would be interesting. To the 2 days market, and just go on and send a message. We can always also go to our voice chat public, where you can just enter here in Discord, the voice chat public, and just turn up your microphone, and if you have a question, just write in the stream, and of course we then give you the allow you to open your mic, or you can also write down questions if you want. Tell us, does this infos we provide here, this live streaming, does this give you some edge in your trading? Do you now have a more serious point of view on your own psychological state of mind, how it impacts your trading? Did you make some progress, or do you say this doesn't help me at all? Anyway, give us some feedback. That would be nice, because of course this is also some time we invest, and it takes a lot of time to prepare everything. It would be cool to get some feedback then, and I'm looking forward to hear from you guys. All right, we're back at the range low. That means same game. That we want to see rejection signs, double rejection, and one need to be aware this time, because see, and make it a little bit bigger, see how delta now is hammering down into the low, and also liquidity is set here in the ask. That mean they're trying to caught up the selling market participants who are buying now, got caught up by the sellers, and we see that there's some strength going on. This can be also some just spoofing at the 174.90, but in Bund, spoofing at this level is not so usual as so tight at the price, because algos normally are then having problem if it's so tight to the price to react quick enough to not get filled. And in this market here, so tight at the price, normally there is no spoofing. So either some guy really wants to sell pieces from wherever, or to get into the really want to go into the short markets and get filled and refilled, but we want to see we don't have the edge we had before, as this moment shows us some bigger selling, and always here increase in the ask. See that here, how they increased the ask liquidity now up to 800 contracts, and we also see red tape, a more reddish tape with some more selling. So this then is not so easy to play, because remember, what needs one to see for the long? That's here right now what's happening. They take out the shorts, they take out the liquidity, and now if you want to get sure, we need to see that liquidity on the bid side is provided and pulled up. This then would be the sign to look for the long again, with a target around the 97. But it's also possible that they will end up very quick and go up very fast to the upside, and then there is no coming in for me into this trade. In footprint, you see that they already continue buying, took out this liquidity, said thank you for giving me the opportunity, and now buying again. And unfortunately, we don't see a pullback for a second test. And of course, with this sign of strength, you can always be ready to open up very quick this position. Unfortunately, I'm not quick enough to play this kind, to trade this kind. We get a second chance now, but look for the liquidity here provided at 87. That needs to stay there, and we also then need some active buying again. So this is still a good chance, but only if we see, here we go, we see now some buying again, and we need to see a continuation of this behavior, but there's of course still then the chance for the long. So you have to make your decision and decide for one side and stick with it then. If market doesn't pay you, then then that's the way it is. But for me, they trying to play the short, kind of aggressive. Then also got the opponent side, the buyers, and they pushed it back really hard. They couldn't make it now with the first attempt. You're seeing selling sets in again, but also some buying. So right now at the moment, I would say we are some kind of neutral in the books. That means prices trading around this area. Right now, if you have made this decision like I had for the long, then right now it's some kind of neutral. That means sometimes it's the way it is. You go in, you see an edge, and then it changes. That means there's appearing more power from the other side, as you may want to see, but that's the way it is. As long we see this behavior anyway, and in the bigger picture, it's still our long mark. So we still have at least this edge from confirming from pre-market, from the cash market, and now here again at this level where they are little, of course, some fighting of bulls and bears taking place. So you will see how this will end up, and our target area again is around 94, 95 to 97, which is also the volume edge. At least now a little bit good signs is here that delta isn't as hard going down. That means selling is a little bit smaller than it was before. And you see here this was just the people that get out of the longs, and they see that there are already some sellers coming in again. Now we just have to wait. I'm out. I'm out of this position because we have seen not one but two attempts. Number one here, trying to push lower, and then the second attempt on the upside, and immediately rejection as they try to get higher. So that means at the 91, you will see that there's some liquidity is provided in the ask, which they wasn't interested even to trade through. Only 26 contracts was traded, and then quick rejection, prices went up, down, and selling started again. And right now the bulls buying at the 88 levels and around 600, 900 and more contracts, but cannot lift the ask. They can't pay the ask, and that means that the sellers are stronger. That's why I left in my trade at the 87 and I entered here at the 90. You can look here. This was when price sets back with a cheap price entry chance again at the low. Then we see accumulation again, starting buying interest. Make it a tick higher means some kind of impulse phase one sets in again, but they couldn't get above and didn't buy as they see that the liquidity was then filled in the ask at 91. That means that at this moment I pulled my stop closer to the 87 to not risk more. And as you see, that what I recognized, this wave of 1, 2, 3, failure, absorption, led then to the advantage that I saw at the downside, and they now playing the downside, which is no short level for me, because remember, for my hypo, the 83 is again a minor POC. That means also a possible long entry level. Long entry I would only take if we see some kind of double bottom. With a double bottom, then I would look for there's the possible re-entry for the long, or you wait the prices coming back into the morning distribution, and you take the re-enter here of the value with the target again at the 97. So that means more aggressive attempt with the double bottom on the downside, or with the re-entering the more conservative. So lucrative trade, but at the end a minus, because bulls showed with the second and third attempt there's strength. And that's what you then can react with adaptive stop handling. So right now they sell into this minor PSC with some kind of pressure. You see that the second, the re-enter, the re-short here in the delta is quite significant, and that means people are in short positions, risk in short positions, with obviously starting around here, setting back and starting around here again. And we see that is divided, see here the low volume node at the 86 level, and that means stops will be above this level, and that means below this 86 level sellers are right now in control. Next target then is the breakout area and the week 50 around the 77, 75 to 77 area. And we wait for prices to build either here a double bottom for the enter back into the long side, or if they really can enter the lower edge here below the 77, then we have the chance that prices go into 72 and 69 or plus even for the short. But not before they showed impressive selling power into below the 77, because this is the last defending level in the big picture. Here for the bulls. See that? That's where everything yesterday started. So that means there's the last bull resistance, bull support level around the 77, 78, 77, 76, around here. And with the LVN starting here at the 79.80. So right now we're at the last bull support level. We also see a bunch of liquidities provided here at the 75, starting already here at the 77, and we will see if buying power is big enough, huge enough to build a double bottom to trade then the rejection long trade here. Means the long trade with targets back to the LVN area at the 86, or even a chance to the separation LVN area around the 91. It's not the LVN, but this is the edge of the bigger morning distribution from today. That means we have some good risk reward here, starting around 79 up to at least 88. That's a good risk reward, but therefore we need to see that it's proven that the sellers are not interested in selling anymore, and also that the buyers are saying, okay, this is unfair price, this is too cheap, we want to look for fair prices again into the value here, into this value, and therefore we need to see the signs. If we see what we see right now is we are on the edge of becoming now a short selling, more short selling pressure. See this here with this very strong with this very strong move into. We want to see now the pullback and no heavy rejection through the buy side, and then we go here into the short, but we need to get a cheap price here and have then the target 72 and 70 and 69. And remember, very often, unfortunately, you don't get the pullback here on the short side. Yeah, as right now, again, there is no pullback, and they're already reaching the target number 1, which is the 72, the yesterday VPOC. All right. So unfortunately, the bulls were some kind of weak today in the Bund, and so that means this is now no trading level for me to trade from. I want to see first that we going back either to the not either. I want to see tradings going back. Now see liquidity is provided here downstairs, so they want to play long here at the PUC. I want to see that price action and behavior is going back to a balanced market, and only if it's going back to a balanced market, you can trade then the range again, but not before, because selling is too strong, and we are now in this more bearish levels below the week 50, and now testing here the PUC. So the chances, if the selling continues, we will even see the 70 got traded, and even the possibility of 64 down to the 60 area is then traded, because then we may see that this area, this distribution is like refilled again. So we need first see balance again and see acceptance before playing the long again, because if they accept the yesterday PSC and just the edge here around 69, then we stay within this area, but then we want to see balance to trade again. As long as this is not happening, we're in the short mode. Right. Alright then, we want to see now selling is still taking place here. See this in delta? There's still more sellers than buyers, but you also see here that the size of selling decreases. So this means we have some normalization here, normalizing, and the liquidity at 72 wasn't even touched. That means some guys here right now meaning it serious. It's at the 70 and also at the 72. And if you're trading then the more aggressive attempt here for on the long side, you need to see that we going back to this low area and then seeing harsh rejection. Okay? That means that first they're trying to get lower, selling. It shouldn't be too aggressive now, the selling again. And then if this is not aggressive selling, but then aggressive buying and support, holding and pulling, then you can try to find a cheap entry. Because you then have a good chance that you see prices coming back to the upper volume edge of this lower distribution around the 80. But only with the signs. If the signs not appear, then the sellers stay in control. That means buyers the bulls are then not aggressive, but very, let's call them a little bit passive and looking and waiting. Then is a selling control. Then one would look here, if he wants to, for the re-enter of the short around the volume edge here at the 79.80 area, with ongoing selling pressure. Then again, ongoing selling pressure, then you can play the short again. If nothing of those appears, we stay flat. Yeah, you see, of course, that there's a lot of liquidity provided here in the bid. The bulls defend this level, of course, but you also see this continuation in selling. Yeah? So as long sellers don't care and go on selling, price will not move up to the volume edge here. As long as the selling is blocked also, but by the buyers, we are stuck in here. That means we need to see one side or the other change their behavior, give up, and so maybe if it's happening that the selling here stops in delta and we are in a low price, in a cheap price area, this will be cool then to look for an entry. But you need to see that delta then stops and is moving from this behavior to this kind of. And then we may see they break in delta structure and the probable move on the long side again. If this is not happening, we stay flat because there is no trade. Now delta is about again to change from bearish to more neutral, but remember again, we need to see in this delta structure, we need to see that we do break this structure here and to see that this going then more to a more bullish behavior and selling's ending. And then I also see, now they did change a little bit. Now we see that the short selling stops and there's also some people turning now to buying. And right now, this is not taking place at the cheap price level, of course. But we need to take a look now at the overall structure. And then we see that we are a little bit refilling now, about to refill this low volume node here in between. So this is no trading here for me. We will see how far this long takes us now. If it going back to this upper volume edge from the overnight low and the cluster of the IBR low and the low volume node from yesterday, then we will have a chance to see if we see a stabilization in this around, and then you can look for a range trade, for a trade in a stabilized momentum, in a stabilized market, but also take care if, as it is now 11 o'clock almost, it's later the day, the less volatile and the less
at a shorter the moves will be, which means this have a negative impact in Bund onto the risk reward. It's just summertime, so unfortunately the moves, the trendish moves don't take place, and you only have some range opportunities. And on the downside, in a long trendish market, I didn't want to trade the short before entering the 79, which happens then here but didn't take place with some pullback, and also the defense at the big POC here from yesterday at 72. Yeah, we'll see if we get back to imbalanced markets to get another range trade or not. All right, that's for today, for the first 2 hours. Today's Bund on Thursday, the 1st of August. Thanks for watching again, and we see you tomorrow with the last day of the week. And yeah, thank you very much, and see you tomorrow. This is Anton Höpfel for Manapa Trading.